Laura walked out of the kitchen, wiping her hands with a towel. "Laura!" Joy called excitedly. "Yes, baby?" Laura replied, kneeling with a smile. Joy took a deep breath. "Will you marry my daddy?" she asked, giggling. Laura froze at the spot. Mr. Martins used to be a happy man. He loved his wife Claire and their daughter Joy more than anything. One rainy afternoon, Claire picked Joy up from school. On their way home, a truck lost control and crashed into them. Claire died instantly. Joy survived, but she was badly hurt. After Claire's death, everything changed. Joy stopped smiling and talking. Mr. Martins became a shadow of himself. He stayed home, drinking and thinking about Claire. The house became cold and silent. Mr. Martin's parents came to visit. His father said, "You can't mourn forever. Joy needs her father." His mother added, "You should remarry someone who will love Joy like her own and bring happiness back." "I'm sorry, Mama, it's not that easy," he said and walked away. That night he sat beside Joy and whispered, "I'm sorry, baby. I'll try to make you happy again." Joy blinked and a tear ran down her cheek. After Papa left, Mama stayed back at her son's quiet home in Bukavu, near Lake Kivu. The once joyful house now felt like a shadow of its past. No laughter, no music, just long silences and heavy hearts. One warm morning, Mama decided to go to Foy Rouge Market, one of the busiest in Bukavu. She wrapped her scarf tightly around her head, carried her basket, and made her way through the crowded streets filled with the sounds of motorcycles, sellers calling out in Swahili and French, and gospel music playing from nearby shops. At the market, she moved from stall to stall, buying cassava leaves, smoked fish, and groundnut paste. Just as she was struggling with her heavy bags, a young woman appeared beside her barefoot, with tired eyes but a kind, respectful smile. "Do you need help, Ma?" the girl asked politely. "Yes, my dear," Mama replied, grateful. The girl picked up her bags and followed her toward the taxi park. Before entering the taxi, Mama turned and asked, "What's your name?" "Laura, Ma. Where are your parents?" "I grew up in an orphanage here in Bukavu. The family that adopted me sent me away after they had their own children," she said quietly. Mama's heart sank. She opened her small purse and wrote down her address on a torn piece of paper. "Would you like to work as a housemaid?" Laura nodded slowly, her eyes wide with surprise. "Come to this house tomorrow morning," Mama said. "Ask for me. I'll be waiting." Laura held the paper close to her chest as Mama got into the taxi and drove off through the dusty, bustling roads of Bukavu. Later, Mama told Mr. Martins, "We need help around here. I can't do it all alone." Martins shook his head. "Mama, I don't want a stranger in this house." He stated, "But of what use is the house if it's no longer a home?" Mama sighed. "Look at you, daughter," pointing to the direction of Joy's room. "Does she look okay to you? That girl is 5 years now. Has it occurred to you that she has not been attending school?" "I met someone today, a good girl. She's an orphan. She helped me at the market without asking for anything. God led me to her." Mr. Martin said nothing. "Please, for Joy's sake," Mama pressed on. "The girl needs help. We need help. Let's try." Mr. Martins looked at his mother, then at the image, then Sigahi sighed. "Sorry, Mum, but what, Martins? My decision is finally, and I'm bringing that girl here." The next morning, Laura arrived at the gate early. She wore the cleanest dress she had, combed her hair nicely, and even washed her face with rainwater she collected. When the gate was opened, Mama welcomed her with a warm hug. "Come in, my daughter." Lisa stepped into the compound, her eyes wide. She had never seen such a beautiful house in her life. The tiles, the flowers, the windows, it was like a dream. "From today," Mama said, "this is your new home." Laura smiled. "Thank you, Ma." Prepared her things and left the next day, Mama bidding everyone bye. "Take care of yourselves," she said quietly. "You too, Mama," Mr. Martin said, cupping his cheek. Mama turned to Lisa. "I'm going to the village to look after my husband. Keep this house in order." "All right, Ma," Laura nodded. The car drove off slowly, disappearing past the black gate, and just like that, the mansion returned to its old silence. Later that afternoon, Laura carried a food tray to Joan's room. She knocked gently on the door dot where knocked, but no response. She knocked again. "Joy, it's me, Laura. I brought you something to eat." Still no reply. Laura slowly opened the door. The room was dim, the curtains drawn. Joy was sitting on the floor beside her bed, hugging her teddy bear and staring blankly at the wall. Lisa walked in slowly and knelt beside her. "Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm the maid. I'm here to take care of you." Joy blinked but said nothing. "I brought rice and stew. I cooked it myself. It's still warm." Joy stared at her for a while and said nothing. She carefully placed the food on the table and sat down beside her to feed her. But she pushed the food on Laura, causing the entire plate to fall. She got up and arranged the clothes and cleaned the place and left. That next night, Laura carried a small stool and a storybook into Joan's room. The lights were dim and the soft moonlight crept through the curtain. Joy sat in bed hugging her teddy bear as usual. Laura smiled gently and sat beside the bed. "I know you don't like talking and that's okay, but can I tell you a story tonight?" Joy said nothing, but she didn't turn away either. Laura opened the book and began. "Once upon a time, in a village not too far from here, there was a small girl named Amara. Amara had no friends. No one wanted to play with her. But one day, a butterfly landed on her shoulder and whispered something that changed everything." Joy blinked. Laura's voice was soft, warm like a lullaby carried on the Lake Kivu breeze. She told the whole story, using her hands to act out the parts, making funny sounds and gentle giggles. And when the story ended, she looked over and saw Joy already asleep. Laura smiled, stood up gently, and pulled the colourful Keatinge blanket over Joy. She sat quietly, watching the child sleep, her small chest rising and falling like the gentle waves lapping the shores of Bukavu. "Good night, Joy," Laura whispered. "Even if you don't talk to me yet, I'll always be here." The next night she came again. Another story, this time about a talking lion who wanted to sing. The night after that, a tale about a little bird who couldn't fly but still became queen of the sky. And after every story, Laura would hum a soft lullaby she remembered from the orphanage in Goma. She would stroke Joy's hair, cover her with her blanket, and watch over her like an angel in the dark. Even if Joy never spoke a word, Laura came back every single night. What she didn't know was that Mr. Martins had started standing by the door some nights, listening, watching, wondering. Who is this woman with so much patience? And why does her voice remind me of something I've lost? The moon was full that night, casting a soft glow into Joy's room through the open wooden shutters. The curtains, a faded green cloth with hand-stitched sun patterns, danced gently with the breeze from the lake. Laura sat beside Joy's bed as usual, on her little stool with her warm smile. But tonight she didn't bring a storybook. Tonight she brought her heart. "Joy, my sweet girl," she said quietly. "Tonight I want to tell you a different story." Joy, as usual, sat up hugging her teddy bear, staring blankly at the wall. Laura looked at her with soft eyes. She took a deep breath and started speaking. Not like a caretaker, not like a storyteller, but like a lonely soul opening up to a child who had been through too much. "I don't know who my parents are," Laura said, her voice shaking. "I never met them. I don't even know if they're alive or dead. When I was a baby, I was found on the steps of a church in Kisangani, wrapped in a piece of cloth. No name, no note, nothing. My name, Laura, was given to me by one of the nuns. That's the only name I've ever known. The other children at the orphanage became my brothers and sisters. We shared food, clothes, toys, and tears." Laura swallowed, her voice softening even more. "Then one day, a couple from Kinshasa adopted me. I was so happy. I thought, maybe now I'll know what it feels like to be loved, to have a real family. But after a while, they had their own children, and everything changed. They treated me like I didn't matter anymore. They shouted at me, made me sleep on the cold floor, beat me for no reason. One day they pushed me out and said I was no longer part of their home. A tear rolled down Laura's cheek. I had no one, no mother, no father, no house. I begged on the streets of Bukavu, carried loads at the market just to eat. That's when I met your grandma, and now I'm here. Joy's eyes welled with tears too. Laura reached for her tiny hands. But you, Joy, you had a mommy who loved you. You played with her. She held you. She kissed you. You have a daddy. You have a grandma, a grandpa. You're not alone. Her voice cracked gently. So please, my sweet girl, don't close your heart. Be happy. Live, talk, laugh. For your mommy, for your daddy, for yourself. Suddenly Joy sat up. Her lips quivered. Tears streamed down her little cheeks. Then without saying a word, she threw her tiny arms around Laura and hugged her tight. Joy, Laura whispered. Joy's little voice came out, soft, broken but clear. I'm sorry, I miss my mommy. Laura's hands trembled as she wrapped her arms around her. It's okay, baby. It's okay to miss her. Cry, let it out. Outside the door, Mr. Martin stood frozen. He had come to check if Joy had eaten. He didn't mean to listen. But as Laura's story reached his ears, something in his heart cracked open. Then, when he heard Joy's tiny voice, his hand covered his mouth. Tears filled his eyes. His daughter spoke. After 2 whole years, she finally spoke. The next morning the sun shone brighter than it had in a long time. Birds chirped at the window. Laura walked into the kitchen, humming softly as she prepared breakfast. Just then, Mr. Martins walked in slowly. She turned quickly, nervous. Good morning, sir, she said, bowing her head. Mr. Martins said nothing for a moment. Then he looked at her. His voice was softer than she had ever heard it. Thank you, Laura. I heard everything last night. Your story, the way you spoke to Joy. You're different. Laura looked away shyly. I didn't do anything, sir. I just shared my pain. Mr. Martins nodded. And for the first time in 2 years my daughter spoke. Because of you. You're not just a maid in this house anymore, Laura. You're part of something special. Laura stood frozen. For the first time, Mr. Martins smiled just a little, but it was real. And that smile was the first crack in the walls of sorrow that had trapped their hearts for so long. Sunlight streamed through the windows of the mansion, touching every corner with a warmth that hadn't been felt in years. The silence that once haunted the house had slowly faded, replaced by tiny giggles, footsteps, and soft singing. Joy was changing, and so was Mr. Martins. Mr. Martins stood by the window of his study, watching the garden outside. From a distance he saw Laura chasing Joy around the flower beds, both of them laughing freely. Joy's tiny voice called out, Laura, you can't catch me, as she ran barefoot across the green grass. Mr. Martins smiled to himself. For the first time in a very long time, he wasn't thinking about Claire with tears. He was thinking about her with peace. That night when Joy spoke again, something broke inside him. The weight on his chest, the sadness in his soul, the guilt of moving on it all began to melt. Now every morning Joy came to the dining table without being begged. She ate her food. She told silly jokes to Laura. Sometimes she even danced around with her teddy bear and called it Teddy Claire. Mr. Martins noticed how she always held Laura's hand tightly. One peaceful evening, Mr. Martins sat with Laura on the veranda. Joy was inside drawing pictures with crayons. Mr. Martins cleared his throat. Laura? Yes, sir? I've decided I'm going back to work. Laura looked surprised. That's good, sir. Mr. Martins nodded slowly. I left my company for too long. I needed to heal, but now it's time to live again for myself. And for Joy. Joy smiled. Claire would be so proud, Mr. Martins. He looked at her warmly. Thank you. Without you, I don't know where Joy or myself would be. She looked down. I only showed love. And that was everything. Days later, Mr. Martins wore a blue suit for the first time in years. Wow, Daddy, you look like a boss, Joy said. He laughed. Because I am the boss. Joy giggled as Laura helped her with breakfast. I'm off to work, my princess. Be good. Yes, Daddy. He turned to Laura. Take care of her. I will, sir. That afternoon, Laura and Joy sat under the mango tree drawing in the sand. Do you miss your mummy? Joy asked. Yes, sometimes. I dream of her face. You can share mine. I think she would have liked you. Thank you, Joy. That means everything. At the office, Mr. Martin stared at a photo. Laura tying Joy's shoelace. He felt something shift inside, like the sun was rising again. Later, Joy drew 3 stick figures, Daddy, me and Laura, and circled them with a heart. Laura! She called, beaming. Yes, sweetheart. Will you marry my daddy? Laura froze. What? Mr. Martins, who'd just stepped out, overheard. Joy showed the drawing. You make Daddy smile and me happy again. I want you to be my mummy. Tears filled Laura's eyes. Mr. Martins walked over. Really look at her. She's more than a maid. She's our joy and healer. Laura, he said, will you stay with us forever? She nodded, crying. Yes. Joy hugged her tight. The house was no longer silent, it was home. On the first day of school, Laura held Joy's hand at the gate. Excited? Yes, I've missed everyone. Mr. Martin smiled from a distance. You're the bravest girl I know. I learned from you and Laura. That evening he returned early. Get dressed. We're going out, you and Joy. Where to? You'll see. Laura appeared in a flowing gown. You look amazing, he said. Thank you, Frank. They dined under fairy lights. After dessert, Mr. Martins knelt beside Laura. You healed us. Let me give you a life full of love. Will you marry me? Laura gasped. Say yes. Joy giggled in happiness. Laura nodded, smiling. Yes. A month later, the mansion bloomed with white and gold. As they exchanged vows, Joy stood between them. Now kiss her, Daddy, she yelled, making everyone laugh. And they did under sunlight, in a home now full of life, love, and family. The end. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more interesting stories.